We go straight on to our next presentation. Jesse Efron from Miyazu City. Jesse's a sustainability advocate. He will share the story of saving the ancient art of wisteria weaving in Miyazu, Japan. This tradition dating back to Japan's Jomon period, showcasing a unique art form deeply intertwined with the local agricultural cycle and responsible forestry management. Jesse, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Jesse. I am obviously not from Japan. And I'm very happy to have followed Ivor because this has nothing to do with my presentation. But, but actually, there's a region, so I'm in this area in northern Kyoto Prefecture. So not in Kyoto City, but on the Sea of Japan. And so I work for a DMO, and one of my cities is Miyazu. But there's actually 7 different cities and towns. There's probably a slide about this. One of the cities is the one right next to Miyazu that I'm going to be presenting on. They actually have these 6,000-year-old dug-out canoes done in kind of the same way. Not Ainu, no. But the research shows that they use them to kind of island hop to get from the main Eurasian continent to Japan. And this was, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. But really interesting that like the techniques across the world are still sort of similar and people kind of figuring this stuff out around the same time. Anyway, I will talk about what I'm here to talk about. So as I said, I'm based in this area we call Kyoto by the Sea. So that's a map of Japan on the right, and we're just on the tip of the Japanese Sea, so the opposite of the Pacific side. I work for Kyoto by the Sea. It's a regional DMO. We do promotion, town development, local projects, and I also work as the sustainability coordinator for the city of Miyazu. The 3 pillars of our tourism development are really focused on, as you guys are all doing as well, local economy, local culture, and the environment. And if we can kind of develop product, contents, tourism that harnesses all 3 of those, we know we're doing a good job. The real challenge, at least in Japan, is kind of moving towards this and getting everybody on board. One of the issues in Japan is they have a very, very strong domestic tourism market. But with population decline and trying to appeal to, you know, outside tourism as well, kind of changing the thinking about what's worked in the past and kind of moving towards a new model. And this also includes kind of being mindful of your local economies, the local cultures that are thriving, remaining in your area. And so a lot of what we do is focused around preserving culture. And I think one really good opportunity of a DMO or any kind of regional board is to kind of be the go-between between your end visitor and your local residents. And there's a lot of steps along this chain as well. For us, one of the things we really try to do is work with a lot of local artisans. And this has taken quite a long time because it's not just about approaching someone and trying to make a tour or make content. It's about developing relationships. And we don't want to be impinging upon their work and what they're doing. We don't want them to feel inundated, but we also want visitors to have a good experience. And so it's really, really working to be kind of the balance in the center, not overloading these artisans who have their main work that they're doing, and also keeping the end visitors' ideas in mind as well. So for wisteria weaving, I'll just tell you a brief story about it. There are these weaving techniques in Japan called ancient cloths. And one of them was down in Okinawa, the southern islands, and they actually used to weave clothes out of banana plant fabric, the fibers. In our area, they have wisteria, which is actually a vine that flowers with these beautiful flowers in May, June. And these weaving techniques date back to, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, Jomon period. So that dates back to maybe 8,000, 10,000 BC. And the people that were doing this, it's a very labor-intensive process. And once they got to the kind of the industrialization of cotton and factories, the art really started to decline until it had died out completely. And in the 1950s, the government kind of asked the different prefectures, if you guys have any artifacts or relics, maybe an old wisteria bag or any kind of cloth or clothes, we would love to be able to utilize that and maybe put it in a museum or something. And when they got up to asking our area, there was this one little village on the coast where these women were diving for pearls, and they used the wisteria bags to put the pearl shells in, because wisteria is really good against salt wind, and it's also tear resistant. So the oysters don't actually tear the bag. And the people in this village said, well, yeah, you can take one of these bags, but you don't have to. There's a tiny little village on the other side of this mountain, and they're still weaving it. And the prefecture was like, what are you talking about? And sure enough, they went to this tiny little village where these women were still weaving wisteria. They had no idea that this art had been lost to the entirety of Japan, and it kind of started a revival. There was just a handful left, and they eventually started a preservation society. They got kind of some national notoriety, and they were on TV. And other local weavers in the area, because the area I'm in actually has a very long weaving heritage, they got interested in wisteria weaving as well, and people started to learn. And the society also teaches people for free. So anybody who wants to come and learn the arts and the techniques can learn, and then their hope is you'll bring it back to, wherever you're based. It might even be Albania. And so you can do wisteria weaving in Albania. So that was kind of how it was able to survive to begin with. And when the city of Miyazu got involved in supporting kind of creating a kind of a building where they can do workshops and teaching people, and as well as my group, when we're doing kind of tourism-related development, it's actually kind of working with these people and kind of trying to develop experiences that not only people can come and enjoy, but also to actually learn and maybe take those techniques and traditions that they've learned and pass them on to other people. I'm going to see what other slides are on here. Yeah, I think I talked about some of this. In Japan, they have, intangible cultural properties and tangible cultural properties, and they get these preservation designations. And so the art of wisteria weaving has gotten a couple of these designations as well, which actually helps preserve them and keep them protected. What we have done so far is here. In terms of, there's that word sustainable. I was going to try and not use it my entire speech, but I wrote this, didn't I? What we're trying to do is kind of develop this further along with other kind of artisans in the area, and one of the hopes is to kind of grow this to be an industry that starts to thrive again in the region. Many of you might know that one of Japan's main problems right now is population decline. And not only is the Japanese population declining, but Tokyo is still growing. And it's now the largest city in the entire world. It's over 39 million people. And so, you know, at the same time you have people leaving rural communities, you have them all going to Tokyo as well. So, you know, we're trying to create opportunities for people to potentially come back, maybe interest them in doing some of these, you know, heritage arts. And I guess I'm done. I have another minute and a half, but I'd rather give it to my friend from Albania. I'm very much looking forward to your presentation. I think it's going to be awesome.
Well, thank you very much, Jesse. And yeah, amazing that you were able to find these two women, you say, right? Who were still doing the weaving. Yeah. And around your neck, that's the wisteria?
Oh, yeah. I wore this the whole time, and then... That's comfortable that you... Yeah, it's just a scarf that's not woven. So this is actually the thread. This is kind of the middle of the process. So you cut vines. I mean, it's a really long, labor-intensive process, but this is what the thread kind of looks like. And then you can make it into these long pieces, and then you can weave bags and clothes and hats and different things out of it. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, Jesse.